on this vlog twice before going to Vegas once, I would have told you that you're out of your mind. But that is indeed the case. I am headed, as you just saw, down the loneliest road in America once again. Definitely a temperature difference from the last time I made this trip. But I'm actually doing two different things, and you would never guess which two. I'm shooting a Silver State Sights. You probably guessed that one. Going over to Great Basin National Park, which is near Ely. And I'll be shooting a segment for Colway News Now there. It'll also be up on this channel. But I'm also covering an execution. The first in the state of Nevada since 2006. It's been a long time. This guy Scott Dozier, a double murderer out of southern Nevada. For those of you who live in Las Vegas, you're probably familiar with this name. But finally going to put him to death tomorrow night. So that is why I am making the trip back to Ely, Nevada. So going to stay a couple of nights there. And I think much like I did last time, when I ran down a truly ridiculous hand because I was in a truly ridiculous part of the state, I think I'm going to do that again. So stay tuned for that. But before we do that, we'll take a little bit of a look at Great Basin National Park here on this vlog, just because I like to show you guys some unique places around the state that you may not have been, and then we will get on the rest of this trip and talk some poker and do whatever else comes up on a couple of day journey throughout the middle of the Nevada desert.
I'd rather wake up next to a stranger than wake up next to you. It's your weekly routine that bothers me. Before you hurt yourself, just leave.
All right, I made it to my room in Ely, Nevada at the Ramada, and this is a very small town-ish, but probably the only hotel that I remember staying in where my room is on one side of the street, and as I walk down this hallway over here, I can show you where I actually had to check in at. The main portion of the hotel is right there. That's where I went to check in, and I was told that I had to go across the street. Is just the latest step in what's kind of been an ongoing issue with regards to the drugs and this execution. All right, 6:50 in the a.m., wrapping up morning live shots out of Ely State Prison. Gonna head across the street, which I have to do here at the Ramada, Ely, and let's check out the continental breakfast situation at this hotel. I'm guessing it's gonna be very similar to the Aria buffet. By the way, I have not seen this in any hotel casino ever before. Check it out. We have a pool basically right as part of the casino. So I'm convinced that at some point somebody will nail a slot jackpot and then jump into the pool as a celebration. I think that would be about the coolest thing you could do at that point. Alright, for the second time on this vlog, I am back outside the Hotel Nevada, Ely, Nevada. I probably will not be here again for quite some time, so I figured I went ahead and ran down a pretty ridiculous hand last time I was here from this exact spot, and I might as well go ahead and do another one. By the way, there's some weird car event going on here right now. For a town of only a few thousand people here in Ely, I wouldn't have expected some Fast and the Furious type racing car show to be going on, but that looks like indeed what is happening. Kind of weird. I don't know what the deal is. But anyway, to get into this hand, happened recently at the Peppermill, where we get an unknown on the button that it folds around to in a 3-5 game, and he makes it 15. The small blind calls the 15, and I'm in the big blind with ace-queen offsuit. I figured this might be a decent spot for a squeeze, and I could try to pick this pot up right here, and it folded around to the button, so he's probably pretty weak. I go ahead and re-raise it to 50. The button pretty quickly lays his hand down, but the small blind thinks about it for quite some time, and he makes the call. Flop comes out pretty good. It comes Queen 6-7 with 2 diamonds. Small blind checks, and I bet out 65. And I kind of got the sense that this guy in the small blind, who's got a beard longer than the lead singer of ZZ Top,
I've been up, I've been down, take my word round.
I really figured that he didn't have all that much respect for the way that I played and was going to look to take some kind of a shot at me. And sure enough, he goes ahead and check raises all in for $540. So a very large bet. Now, I kind of had a perception of this guy as pretty tight, despite his crazy beard. Had played with him a little bit, not all that much. But then I start thinking, what exactly is he trying to say that he has here? He could have 6-7, but if he has pocket 6s or pocket 7s, I don't see any way that he's playing it this fast. He's going to want to get some value out of it. It's possible he also has ace-queen and doesn't want me to get there on him. It's also possible that he has a weaker queen and still thinks that I don't have much, but he does not want to get drawn out on. So after some thought, I decided that despite the fact that I thought this guy was relatively tight, that I needed to go ahead and pay him off. So I call that $540 bet, and he ends up showing pocket 9s. So I don't really know what the goal behind that play was, but he made a big shove with it, to say the least. Turn comes an 8, and you guessed it, 9 on the river. So I ended up playing that hand about as well as I could have played it, but ultimately gets sucked out on, which isn't really the point of the hand. It's just interesting to illustrate how some guys you can have a certain image of, but that doesn't mean they're going to live up to it. And if you really think through certain hands, you can get to the bottom of what's really going on. And by the way, it just occurred to me, and I didn't really mean for this to go this way. I just wanted to find a ridiculous hand that happened recently. But the last time I told a story here about a hand out in front of the Hotel Nevada was one of the most ridiculous bad beats I ever took, and now apparently I've told another bad beat story, which wasn't really the point, but I apologize for that nonetheless. Anyway, going to go head over to Ely State Prison and cover this execution. Let's see if it actually happens. Then going to go actually shoot another Silver State sights over at the Railroad Museum here in Ely. Place looks pretty cool, and then I'm going to head back to Reno tomorrow. Well, after having it delayed last year, Scott Dozier is having his execution delayed once again. And just like last year, it'll be due to issues related with drugs involved in the lethal injection process. So no execution here in Ely. Spent a good portion of the day just kind of waiting outside of the prison. Ultimately, it was decided they can't do it. Lawsuits being threatened by the maker of one of the drugs used are delaying the execution. I could see why, because they could just see some disastrous lawsuit coming and it could cost them a whole bunch of money, so they just went ahead and tried to prevent it, and they did. And yes, that's the reason why that I am here in Ely, and now I'm just going to be heading on back.